Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Night, the podcast that deals with the early life of J.R. Hendrick. And now, performing Facts and Wisdom of J.R. Hendrick and Jimmy. Make sure everything's on the up and up here. October 7th, 1990, 5 p.m. Larry Thurber called me while I was sitting in the living room of my dorm. How would you like to come to my dorm room for dinner tonight? I ordered us some pizza and drinks, Larry said. What made you think of me? Well, you gotta be tired of Charlie Nation grilling you all the time. Alright, I'll be over there in 30 minutes. 5:30 p.m. Central. Murdo Hall. Christian music is playing as we sit there and eat pizza and drink some soda. It was the first time that I was ever in his room. And he informed me for the fall semester, he would be going to First Baptist 930, a congregation which currently meets in the second floor of the Texas in the Texas Tech Student Union Building. 7 p.m. Eastern. In Washington, D.C., the family sits down for goulash for dinner with an extra place for Forever's boyfriend, Sarge. 7 p.m. Central. Gently I asked Larry Thurber if he could copy some of his Christian albums. And he turned to me and said, "Now, JR, I be studying public affairs. It's a major. But my major is in business economics. I'm a stickler for obeying copyright law." 9 p.m. Eastern. Outside the mansion, Jim approaches Betsy, who is sitting by the fountain, alone. "Isn't this great, Betsy? A lovely night with the family. And I'm going to ask Christine to come work with me during the half day of school. Talk to the school about it. Maybe I could teach her some lessons she can other than what she can learn in school, but also what she can learn in school. Betsy turns round from the fountain and turns on her husband. You don't know nothing about the kids. This appointment is supposed to be helping this family? Why don't you ask me what this is doing? So what I see is family, Betsy said, walking inside. Because you think, Jim, because you see Jim at this point, you're not man enough to make me happy? Fine. I'll sleep in the VIP lounge upstairs. 8 p.m. Central. Getting into a good time. I played on the musical keyboard that is on Larry Thurber's computer. Larry and I are laughing and having a good time. And the good thing was, no Charlie Nation to grill me. He was in Houston this weekend swimming against the University of Houston. 8:15 p.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Christine, Kyle, and Madison are drinking and having a good time. Christine says she wishes she didn't have to go back to Washington, D.C. this Sunday. But Kyle says they'll see what they can do about being able to bring her around more often until it's seen that their dad steps down from his government position. 10:10 p.m. Central. Larry Thurber and I watched the 700 Club on his TV, and Larry had tapped me into the John Birch BBS. 11:20 p.m. Central. Listen to music in Larry Thurber's dorm room at Murdo. We talked about our studies in public affairs. Talked about how it seemed like Christian music wasn't the same anymore. Larry produced a floppy disk. I would take that disk and put it into one of the accessible computers, either at the library or at the Center for Public Affairs. 6 a.m. Eastern. Jim wakes up in the Dream Team VIP lounge upstairs. He thinks about all that he has to do today. Breakfast sometime before 8 the Dream Team meeting. And then he wants to go see a healthcare debate on a package attached to welfare reform by President Clinton on the House floor. He thinks about the fight he had with Betsy last night. He wishes he could find a way to make it up to her. 6 a.m. Central. Dave Smith started the car, and we raced toward the car. Dave, man, I'm ready to go, Gerald said. There was a short pause as they got into the car. Doing all right? With what? Dave asked. The girls, man. Like you, I am on this crap. I'm thinking about asking Jennifer Bowers to marry me. I mean, we are in 3 classes together. And we kind of know we get along very well. Jennifer's a good match for you, JR. Just hope that it's something that she wants to. She told me that she wants me. Except I think her mama wants her with somebody else. Just be careful, man. Dave drove us to Kentucky Bell for breakfast. 8 a.m. Eastern. Jim meets with his dream team and learns that Avery Covington set up a speech for him with the Amway Corporation in Ada, Michigan. Also, a meeting was to be set for Wednesday morning for Jim to meet with the Congressional Values Caucus on the House floor. Grace Arthur also informed Jim that on Friday, she and Betsy worked on having a Judeo-Christian festival in the courtyard of the mansion. 8 a.m. Central. Dave and I talk in the car. I tell you what. I never felt in better shape like I am now, Gerald said. Then why don't you compete one of these weekends on the swim team? Perhaps I will. You did good in high school sports. I was the halfback, and the quarterback used to call me Tiny. He don't have the right to call you Tiny. Dave dropped me off at the Center for Public Affairs for the debate. 9:05 a.m. Eastern. Jim is watching a debate between Newt Gingrich and Dick Gephardt about a health care package which has been attached to welfare reform, with bipartisan support. There was move to kill the bill. 9 a.m. Central. At the main lecture hall at the Center for Public Affairs, the debate between Texas Tech and the University of Houston took place. Welcome to the Texas Tech University debate. I am John McComb, Assistant Director for the Center for Public Affairs. The first debate this morning is between James Ryan Hendrick Jr. of Texas Tech University, arguing for cutting taxes for small business, and for the University of Houston, Melanie Crystal Horton, arguing against tax cuts for small business. I stood there with my notes, some from information I got from Larry Thurber, and began the debate. 12 p.m. Eastern. Jim is having chicken duets for lunch with Andrew House. Betsy is distant towards her husband and does not come down to lunch. Instead, she gets some Chinese. And a chocolate souffle for lunch. 12 p.m. Central. JR decides to have hamburgers at the Spirit Club. 1 p.m. Central. Even though JR lost the debate, he returned to listen to Brent Clark debate Hillary Weeks from the University of Houston about the abortion issue. Two p.m. Central. Kevin and Dave playing against Oklahoma State, and Charlie at a swim meet in Houston. I sat around in my room. I had lost the debate, and I was sure that Daddy would be very disappointed with me. 4:45 p.m. Central. Having decided to stop moping, I went to the Center for the Visually Impaired and put it in the floppy disk to read some of the material from the John Birch Society, as well as Rush Limbaugh's response to FAIR and Andrew House response to SBJ, the Society of Professional Journalism. Here I was, informed and armed to the T for when the election was going to be a month away. 6 p.m. Eastern. In his home office, Jim is reading the dispatches from North Dakota. He learned that Republican Governor Ed Schaefer was reaching out to the SBA with a little help from Philip later. Sensing this, Jim decided to take matters into his own hands and called for a Sunday night press conference in the mansion. 6 p.m. Central. JR and Tim Newcastle have dinner together at the Holy Spirit Club. Tim got a call from his father Paul that they saw Christine riding a horse bareback at the ranch. That's nothing new. She's so like Daddy. You know, when I came home last weekend, Mom was telling me how much they miss your mom and dad. Being there at the ranch. Kyle runs the ranch. Not sure I like it. 8 p.m. Eastern. Jim goes to the upstairs kitchen area, and Betsy meets with him. Jim, we need to talk, Betsy said, as they take 2 glasses of iced tea in an upstairs living room. But I know I said what I said to wound you. I'm sorry. But I know what I said. What's wrong? You've had a rough life. Stern grandmother. Alcoholic rancher father. Some of the elements of your family have been pathetic. Nevertheless, I shouldn't have said what I said. I was vexed because you don't want to see Kyle. You don't want to see Kyle this week. I was wrong to believe that he abandoned the ranch. I didn't realize if your Coast Guard needs a physical, you have to respond to it. Karen. 12:10 a.m. Eastern. In the mansion front hallway, Forever is frolicking with Sarge. Jim and Betsy had reconciled and gone to sleep. Jim has the morning tower shift servant, Isaac, to pick up Christine at the airport. 12:05 a.m. Dave Smith arrives back at the dormitory and falls asleep. Charlie had already arrived from Houston at 9:20 p.m. was already asleep. Thank goodness it was one of his couch potato nights, which he said that he would go to Coleman Hall tomorrow night. 1:20 a.m. Eastern. In the Dream Team VIP lounge, Jim is watching CNN. He heard from Claude that he struck oil off the coast of Houston. Wanting to share with Jim the profits, Claude told him, "Don't you dare tell Betsy." 3 a.m. Eastern. Jim wakes up from another nap. And Isaiah, one of his night servants, to make him a pot of coffee. He opens up his cigarettes and lights one. He's glad his disagreement with Betsy was resolved. 5 a.m. Central. Kyle and Madison wake up. And Kyle immediately goes towards milking the cows. Madison was to take Christine to the airport and then to the private jet that would take her to Washington, D.C. Tomorrow, Kyle was going to be taking a couple of bulls to rodeo in Jal, New Mexico. 5:30 a.m. Central. Just waking up. I thought I'd just go to the Fringe in my sweet living room and get me a Dr. Pepper. My day was to go like this. Breakfast at 6:30 at the Holy Spirit Club. And then church at 9:30 at the First Baptist 9:30 worship service at the Student Union. Then I promised Charlie Nation I would have lunch with him at Crockett House. I was to then meet with the missionaries of the Assemblies of Christ, although I gave them an inclination that I was not interested in being joined with them. But I still was interested enough for them to study the Bible with me. Hmm. 5:30 a.m. Central. Madison drives Christine to the airport, wishing she could stay even longer. However, Christine says, even though they have so much fun, her father says she has to be back in school on Monday. The good news was a governess was watching George and Andrew while she drove Christine to the airport. 6 a.m. Central. Clearing security. In 5 minutes, Christine climbs onto what she saw as a spacious private jet that would take her on a 3.5-hour flight back to Washington, D.C. Her parents would be in church, so Isaiah would take her back to the mansion. 6:30 a.m. Central. The private jet carrying Kristen taxis down the runway and departs from Midland International Airport for Washington International Airport. Cinnamon rolls was at breakfast as I sat down with C.B. Coleman and Stoney Rosen. I'm sorry about your debate. For what it's worth, Tech football got a smackdown from Kansas State University, C.B. Coleman said. Wish you didn't have to miss Sunday morning with us. Live on Sunday for lunch, Stoney said. Oh, you know, Grandma. All Swain gentlemen have to go to a Baptist church. And you know, Charlie Nation, I have to sit down and have lunch with him. You may have to someday realize that you have to stop pleasing your family, C.B. Coleman said. I know you love your grandmother, and you want to respect and honor Grandma and Grandpa, but you are your own man, J.R., who lives by the ethical code of his grandfather. Don't you forever get that. Granddad taught me the basics of life. 7:50 a.m. Eastern. In Washington, D.C., the family sits down to breakfast with a choice of cinnamon rolls, cinnamon toast, and one of Jim's favorites, boiled eggs with bacon. Betsy said that this morning she would like to see everyone in church. Amy Kathleen told her that she was going to Presbyterian church with her boyfriend Greg. Forever, and Elizabeth Marie and Bobby would be joining Jim and Betsy at Calvary Hill Baptist Church. Will Thomas would also be joining Jim and Betsy. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. At Calvary Hill Baptist Church, Matt Lowry, the pastor, lectures out of Isaiah chapter 9. 9:30 a.m. Central. I attended the 9:30 college congregation that was currently meeting for the year at the Student Union building, second floor. The worship style was almost completely foreign to me, as it's contemporary. But I wanted to honor Grandma's wishes. I later found out in Sunday school that they did not have a Wednesday night program. So, I would be free to join the Spirit Club during the week. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Night. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying get ready for part 2 of Facts and Wisdom.